Hi.
Hello. We're just getting started here, Rachel. So we're gonna have everyone file in. Just want to make sure our chat is working. We're gonna have some fun. I can't wait to talk to you about this because having lived in LA and been in the entertainment industry, I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions, and you have a lot of answers.
There are definitely a lot of questions to ask about that industry.
Yes, and especially your career. So I want to get into it. I'm just letting everybody come in here. If you're here, the chat is now open, and we'd love to hear from you, where you're from, and get this party started.
I love it.
A few quick things at the top here. If you've never done a Momentus before, we the Q&A is open, so there's a little button at the bottom of your screen. You can tap a Q&A and you can ask a question. And the chat is open, but if you ask a question in the chat, there is a very good chance we won't be able to see it because the chat starts to light up. People are very excited about you, Rachel, and then suddenly we can't see anything. Yay! So please use the Q&A button if you have questions. We will take time for that. And if you have purchased a meet and greet ticket, just stay right here in this Zoom and we will transition to that after this lovely panel. I have questions. I know, get your questions ready too and use that Q&A box. Also, we may bring a couple of people on screen to ask their questions. So if you have a working camera and microphone, then get ready to party with that.
And I'm half listening to you and half watching all these awesome names go
I
by. So,
know.
hi everyone. It's really good to see you all.
We've got, yeah, Austin, Texas, Connecticut, Dallas, Bernie, San Diego. Well, I mean, Netherlands, like all over the place. Canada. Oh, this is amazing. Well, okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, Rachel, um, hi. I feel like I haven't
Hi.
seen you in too long.
Way, way, way too long. It's
Yeah.
really good to see you and
And
be hanging out in this way.
I
I'm
know.
just I'm just so glad you're doing these. It's awesome.
Well, I'm glad to be doing this one with you because I feel like A, we get a chance to catch up. B,
Yeah.
get to talk about something that we're both passionate about, which is the arts
Yeah.
and collaborative creativity. And we'll get to ask some questions. I like now have open carte blanche to ask you questions
Yep.
about you, which I feel like in the space of a friendship, you're not like, tell me how you like. I don't want to.
I'm like, here, let me tell you my story.
Yes. What is your
And
life story? What if
that's
it's a
right.
swear word?
A- And I can't like keep deflecting by asking you questions back because I think I'm supposed to answer.
Yeah, you do that. Yes, you do that. That is correct. You're very good at that, and I also do that. So you're sort of that way. um, well, why don't we just get into it? Because I feel like people don't forget to use that Q&A box. People are starting to use it, which is great. And we'll get to your questions in just a moment. But I'm going to be selfish and ask you questions first. So in getting to know you, it's clear that arts have been a presence in your life since you were very young. Can you tell us a little bit about how the arts influenced your life with your family and your upbringing, but also like how did that influence your career and your life?
Well, I entirely and in a lot of ways I'm very grateful for because like my grandmother and my grandfather were both in the industry.
Yeah.
They started like my grandfather started the first live television show, and
Wow.
my grandmother used to run an acting conservatory called the American Academy in New
Yeah.
York. And so like they were really grounded in the love of the art. And at that time, it was not a reputable profession. It was not the same kind of celebrity culture it is now. So what like the perspective I grew up in was like for them, it was very not reputable to the point where kind of went prostitution, acting. So like my grandmother had to fight her whole family, and like it was not well received that she
Yeah.
decided to become an actress. So I was then my father was also a director and acting teacher and stuff, and so he raised me as well with that thing of like loving the work
Yeah.
and playing pretend, but I never took it too seriously. And I was always weirded out by the other aspects.
Mm.
Um, and it was like a family business. I think one of the things I was two when I started wanting to act, but a lot of it was also because I grew up going to sets with my father and stuff, and I wanted to do what he was doing.
Yeah.
And I also really wanted to play pretend.
Yeah.
So I thought I could like live in these fantasy worlds. I didn't then. So when I was 2 years old, I was very convinced. I was like, I'm going to be an actress. And I was trying to explain to everyone. But then I found out I might get famous. I
Mm.
heard about that phenomena and I
Yeah.
got really scared. And I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Because I was grounded enough in this other sense of what the art was. I knew I loved that, but I was like, I don't want a lot of people staring at me. I'm actually very shy. And I didn't like that idea. So I think I came at it differently than a lot of people do. And I'm very grateful for that.
What do you think it was about the fame part of it that scared you the most?
Um, I think one of the things is I love connecting to people. And you would think fame would make you very connected, but it actually makes people strangers.
Yeah,
Like,
like a
and
dis
that's when I experienced it, that's what I hated
got
the
it.
most was I remember like friends I went to school with who I'd been like bathing with and stuff. And then when I got married, it was very publicized.
Yeah.
And so they were reading about me in newspapers and they would like run into me and be like, I don't know if you remember me. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't change.
Yeah.
And so there's that weird thing of, I think a lot of people think you change when you get famous, but I was like, no, I'm me.
Yeah.
Please don't try to change me.
Mm,
And somehow I perceived that when I was little as well. Like, I don't want to be that idea of something.
right.
Does that make
Like
sense?
it does, because so what I'm hearing you say, and correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, but it sounds like that people would get to know you at a level of a version of you that you were creating, and then would try to either approach you from that perspective or some other perspective of fame, or therefore, if they're famous, they act this way. And then that stopped people from kind of getting to know you before they
Yeah.
got to know you, or assuming you had changed when you were still the same person.
Yeah, or I'm like imagining and viewing me
Yeah.
with some other quality.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm so grateful for all of your friends here today because
Yeah.
it's something that I learned across the conventions and stuff since doing Supernatural that I was very uncomfortable with the idea of the conventions at first
Yeah.
because I'm a bit socially anxious, but also I think the biggest thing is I don't want to make people sad or disappoint people. And
Hmm.
that's like deep in me.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
felt like I always played these cool characters and stuff like Meg.
Yeah.
And thought, oh, the minute people meet me, I'm gonna like deeply disappoint them. It's gonna like break their hearts. I'm like, I thought you were cool. And so and then I know some actors do conventions and they're like, you have to put on a persona. And I'm like, I can't do that. I will fail miserably. So I was like, I can only know how to be me.
Yeah.
I decided though to be honest about that.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of like met people honestly and went, okay, so here's who I really am. I don't want to disappoint, but like I love what you're imbuing me with, but
Hmm.
that's your creation. I
Yeah.
also didn't like the dynamic of like, I am this magnificent person. And I was like, I'm never going to be, but like the fact that you even imagine that I could be means that you are.
Yeah, totally.
And once I like started having those conversations and then actually meeting and making so many friends, and I feel like I'm allowed to be me, and I not only was accepted, but like I grew more into myself and
Yeah.
more comfortable being myself with others. And like I know that everyone who's here today, it comes from that place. Like I feel like they actually know me. So then it's you're talking on the level of friendship and not on the level of like, I am celebrity, you are
Yeah.
the like minions or
Yeah.
whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
So
No,
so
I think it's safe to say, and everyone here would agree with me, that you are unabashedly you. Like there's no question. And I love that about you, because it's funny to hear other actors from Supernatural and other shows talk about this. They go to a convention, and especially when they first start out, they're like, I I don't know what there's not enough here. Like I'm gonna disappoint people and they're so afraid of disappointing someone, you know. And the reality is I think, and there's someone here actually in the audience who just wrote, my daughter and I met you in 2018 at the Minneapolis con. You were so sweet to my daughter. You're amazing. I think you in thinking about that are giving people such a gift of sharing yourself, which is a lot. I mean, to share your real self with people in this context, because there's so much feedback and there's so much attention. Um, but for you to continue to do that is a sign of great strength, I would say, and integrity of who you are.
Well, thank you. And
Yeah,
as I say, I'm grateful to my family and everyone to
yeah,
like give me that perspective. And I think it is a difference entering into this business with like wanting my identity to be seen, whereas I actually liked the part of acting I liked was connecting people to other people's stories.
yeah, yeah,
And so that really had very little to do with me. And that's the same as like I just love meeting people and listening to people.
yeah.
And apparently that's I've always been that way. When I first learned to walk, I would like walk to people's laps and sit on them. My parents would like have to take me away. So
You were
I
super
do,
excited about that.
yeah. So
Uh,
anyway.
that's
Anyway,
interesting.
thank you all who are writing such amazing,
Yeah, look
wonderful.
at this outpouring of sweetness. You deserve it, honestly. Well, let's talk about some of the creations you've made. Like, what do you have a character you wished you could have played forever, or are there some that are more near and dear? Obviously, they're all your children, but like, are there some that you feel more attuned to that you wish you could have played for a long period of time?
Yeah. And most definitely. And I'd love to hear from other people too if
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have favorites. But for me, there's two characters. Meg was one of them.
Okay.
The other was a character named Betty that I played in a film called Hyde,
Yep,
which it's kind of like there's crossover fandom because Kristen Kane, who I did Hyde with,
yeah.
like he's done some of the creation events too, and then he was on Supernatural briefly, and he's friends with Jensen and Jared and stuff. So anyway, that so both those characters are completely not anxious people. They're like, so Betty was bank robbing, like over the top murdering, whatever, but also like deeply in love and what like nothing held her back. And she was the most free spirit I've ever experienced.
Mm,
And experiencing being like she one of the things that Kristen Kane's character, who was her lover, was trying to stop her from doing was she kept murdering random like guys in the in gas stations and stuff when they would like hit on her or be like nasty or something. Like she basically was trying to like take out all the
mm,
bad
mm.
apple men.
The trash. Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
But she's just so free and strong and
Yeah.
unafraid.
Yeah.
And Meg as well. Like there was no part of her that was ever anxious or socially awkward or whatever. Or if she was, she didn't care. Um,
Yeah.
but I think I love being that free.
Yeah.
I don't love murdering people. I really don't. It's not
Okay,
that.
well, that remains to be seen, Rachel. I don't know.
But yeah.
Speaking of that, because you have played some really powerful dark characters before, which I love. Like it, and it's fun to talk to you, the you that you are. Not to say that you don't have shadow in you as well, but like you play these shadowy characters really well. Do you feel like there's a secret to playing those parts that you unlocked because you're so good at it?
Well, and it's weird. It's not just like one character, it's like every
I know
character.
you're just like,
Like,
oh
no,
no.
I'm like, oh, like but actually it was such a joke because I always played the murderer or the uh prostitute or whatever, like you name it.
Mhm.
Really dark characters. And one time I got a script and it was like the sister, it was Butterfly Effect 3, but it was
Yeah.
an offer. And they was like the sister, and she seemed really nice. And I'm sorry to give this away to anyone, but the twist at the end was she was murdering everyone. And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but I think the reason I love playing those characters is because it's like an empathy exercise.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
you really have to. There's no one that walks around thinking like, I'm gonna be evil today. there's always a way that you organize your world so that you think this is the way that's best to be.
Yeah.
You think other people are going to like be mean first, so I have to be mean, or this is how you protect yourself, protect the people you love, or whatever it is. And so it's, to me, it's like it's actually more of a mental challenge, but also like a heart challenge
Yeah.
to not judge that, but to instead try to figure out what has to happen in your life to lead you to be that way.
Yeah.
And to think that is the right way to be. And so like to me, it's actually part of loving humanity is to be able to think that way too.
Yeah.
So I really to like, I think that's the trick. Like you can never come at it being like, I will twirl my mustache
Yeah,
and
yeah,
do
yeah.
bad today. And I also think there's another thing that is the negative reason why I tended to get those characters.
Yeah.
For when like when we were younger, back in the Stone Age.
The old days.
But I think it shifted, luckily, but there weren't a lot of intelligent female ingenue characters. Like
Yeah.
if someone was thinking,
Yeah.
they
They
were
were plotting.
plotting and probably
Yeah.
suspicious as a woman. Like
Interesting.
if you had thoughts going on in your head,
Mhm.
better watch out. Whereas I actually tried it as a test one time. Like I was like, why can't I ever get the nice girl characters?
Yeah.
And I just instead, my intention for the whole thing was just to be confused, and I got it.
That's amazing.
So I just like like played the whole thing like, what's happening?
Oh my
And then
God.
I got the role. So I think that's what they were looking for back when I was like doing the crux of my acting.
That's first of all terrible. That's a terrible observation because it's just like, no, if women are thoughtful and have anything going on, they must be up to
But
something. Like,
the positive is I do think it has gotten better.
yeah,
I think we see so many smart, strong characters
yeah.
like for young women and young men to grow up with.
I love
Um,
I watched Fleabag, and Fleabag
yes.
has a hyper thoughtful person.
Yeah.
Like a over like, oh my goodness, so much um like conceiving of things and talking to the camera because there's so much thought process. She's literally monologuing it. And those kinds of characters that have that dimensionality of like, like we all do of humanity are so, I
Yeah.
mean, so welcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well,
And by the way, I apologize if I get dings because I did not turn off the thing on my computer.
yeah,
And I warn you because I just saw that someone's birthday and we have a supernatural chain, like a group thing. And
yeah,
when it's someone's birthday, there's like tends to be.
explodes.
So
Yeah.
if there's a
Mhm.
lot of dings, I really apologize. So
Well,
please forgive me, but you like the people who are dinging.
I haven't heard it. And also you don't need to tell us who.
Okay, good,
But I haven't heard it. So I think the
good.
noise suppression is
Oh,
working.
good. Oh, good.
So let's talk a little bit more about parts and things because
Yeah.
I think the process of acting is such a labor intensive thing. Would you mind sharing with us? Yeah, happy birthday, Matt. Uh, would you mind sharing with us maybe your favorite or best audition and maybe your because I as an actor myself, I've had some really terrible auditions that I just like flop sweat terrible. If we could just bond over that for a moment, we
Okay, I'm gonna first of all, I'm gonna say favorite auditions. So I'm gonna go
and name
back to
drop
like
too, whatever you like.
I'm gonna go with like mine. My answers are never is like the ones you expect. No, first was when I had told you I wanted to act when I was 2, and so I convinced my parents because I would like campaign,
Yeah.
and I convinced them. It was very verbal that I needed to be acting, and so they let me go on a few auditions. But the first film I auditioned for, they did a video and they put me on tape,
Mhm.
and I was like a callback, I think, and then they put me on tape, and I had to go through the scenes and stuff. And I came home, and I kept asking, "When's my movie coming out?" because I was convinced that I'd shot the film. And my parents did not know how to not break my heart. They were like, that wasn't a movie. And they would
That
try
is
to explain, but
amazing.
I did not, my reality was pretty unshakable. So I was like, no, when's my movie coming out?
That's amazing.
And so that was when they decided I needed to wait till I was older because I did not understand what I was doing. But I tell you, it was a wonderful audition. I felt really good.
I bet you got the
Um,
movie already and shot it.
that's
So
right.
yeah, you did pretty well.
And then my next big audition was there's so many beeps.
Let's go.
My next big audition was for Woody Allen. It was a film called Alice
Yes.
that he did with Mia Farrow. And I went on callback after callback, and it was a big deal at that time. And my parents kept saying, "That's so great, sweetie, but you're not going to get," because they didn't want me to break my heart.
Yeah.
And I got it. And so I felt so like certain. I was like, this is easy.
That's it.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, you didn't get it. You probably got another callback. Because I was talking to my agent. I was, no, I got it. And they talked to my agent. And she was like, no, she got it. So, and then I got cut out most of the way. So, you know, it was a good,
Listen, it always,
yeah.
I swear, it's classic.
But but generally any part I got is a good audition.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's also like something to look like to reflect on in life is that everything where you can like be yourself and actually connect and it flows naturally is usually like where you're supposed to be. And for me, whenever I fight and fight and fight and fight for something, or like it doesn't matter, it applies to anything, dating or whatever, and you're like me, and, and you work so hard, like that stuff always goes awry.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think we have to be like centered in feeling kind of comfortable with ourselves and interested in others, and then things flow nicely. So those were always the best auditions.
It's so tricky. And I know we've talked about this before, but like being passionate about something and wanting something deeply and also being unattached to the outcome that's really tricky. To
Yeah.
love something so much and then to like go, but it's not in like it is what it is, it will be what it is really tricky and hard not to take personally, especially in that industry.
I don't know. My thing as I've gotten older is just be super passionate about a lot of things
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
be grounded in that so that
Diversify your
yeah,
passion
so that like
portfolio.
it's not because I think instinctively start to try to protect ourselves,
Yeah.
and that's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
Is like then we're like, no, I'm too cool. I don't want things. And we think you deny yourself. But if you get to a point where you can like just like, oh, I totally want this role, but I also totally want to be doing this other thing that I'm doing over here, and I totally want to be over here, and I love that I'm doing this thing, and you can freely follow all of that and stay grounded in that, then no one is in control of your happiness but yourself.
That's really beautiful. That's a really good reminder, and people are responding to it in the chat. I think it's when we are single-minded about things, we can get a little obsessively. That's what this is the one.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and I think the biggest lesson that I have learned over and over in life is to stop trying to control things.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually wrong when I try to control things. Plus, like it's so unsuccessful. Everything that I've like been like, I have the exact plan about it. Then life throws something else and it's like, haha.
Yeah.
But I started to realize, especially getting sick, like, so one of the things when I want my walking started to go is I would trip if I like tried to speed up and get ahead of myself. So like I couldn't run for cabs or run for buses or whatever. And then I was like, how weird is it that we think if we get to that cab, we'll get there in time? We don't know. You
Yeah.
could get to that cab and that cab could get in an accident. Whereas the next cab could be like
Yeah.
a really good driver who gets you there faster. So like the illusion of control really is just that. It's just an illusion. Like we really have to have a little more trust. And I think that there's a happiness that comes once you start trusting that, like, hey, it's also going to go the way it should.
Yeah. I think what's been really profound to know you is you have an effervescence and like verve in life and a curiosity that is like I've never met a more curious person in my entire life, honestly. Like I've never
I'm
ever.
definitely curious.
Well, I mean, like it is it's a powerful feature of your life, and I know for some of us we get kind of bogged down, and then that curiosity wanes a little bit because we're just trying to manage. And do you mind if we talk about your disability for one moment?
Oh, absolutely not at all. I would,
Okay.
I like
Yeah.
relish talking about, because it's one of the few things I feel like I can do. Like without a doubt, I got this down, which is I can be publicly flawed and vulnerable.
Mm,
That's like, as like also in my other work with random acts and stuff.
yeah.
That's the thing I'm the only thing I'm secure of as in any kind of leadership role is that we really need leaders who, like, I think can be
Show up as they
unashamedly,
are.
like, just like I got that wrong, I need to learn.
Yeah.
And I, so I'm like, I can do that. So the same with disability, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I got that down, I promise you, I won't get that wrong.
Yeah. Well, it's your experience too, which is, I think we all need to ask those questions too, because I don't think, um, when you have, when you don't have a chronic disability or chronic illness, I think it's easy to not understand the experience of others. So it requires us to ask that question, which is why I wanted permission to ask the question
Thank you.
first. But we actually have a question too from Valerie here. As a fellow disabled person, what helps you get through a bad flare and stay positive?
Um, I think a lot of it is that, like, relinquishing control
Yeah.
of, like, if we have ideas of what our life is supposed to look like, especially if those ideas are modeled off of non-disabled life,
Yep.
we're in big trouble. Like that just leads to misery. But if you can accept what's going on around you in any given moment and, like, be open to, like literally, like, okay, I can't move right now. I'm having a horrible day. I can't get out of bed, but the sky is beautiful and I can see it. And I've got a great book sitting next to me. Oh, and I've been meaning to get back to my emails because I owe this person an email, whatever it is, and to see the possibility in each moment. Like I don't believe that everything happens for a reason, but I think you can make a reason out of anything. So if something's happening, like, find the gift in that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what gets me through, is to always keep reframing. And I think acting helped with that, because what you're doing constantly as a character is like how the changing perspectives, how to look at the world in an entirely new way at any given moment, and then let that go and drop that and put on another one. And I think that that's a good exercise for any of us.
I know we've had a lot of discussion over the years and even sort of pointed GISH challenges at some of these things too, to try to increase awareness or change even physical spaces, because physical spaces are still so lacking in seeing all people and not just one kind of person or not just one type of person or what, not just the way one person looks. Um, and you were instrumental in helping me when my mother experienced 2 strokes, and suddenly we were looking at all these things that you had been telling us about, and I felt so much more ready to take on the challenges that she had with her mobility because of you. Do you feel like the world is changing for the better on this? Because when I look around, I still see, like, you can't get in that bathroom stall. You can't go up that ramp. Like that's not a parking space. Do you feel like we're making inroads here?
Well, I feel like we're on the road to making inroads.
Okay.
And what I say by that is, one of the things that does always hearten me is I think we're getting better and better at representation in our imaginary worlds.
Yeah.
I think, like, I get so excited when I see that, because that is what we end up modeling our real worlds off of. So I have a lot of hope for future generations, because I think we're building better concepts of society that our children might model. but I don't think we're there yet now. Like,
Yes.
it's amazing to me how not there we are, that I confront every day. Um,
Yeah.
uh, so I don't know. I hope that answers. But I try to have like a sense of humor about it. But I warn that like I personally have a sense of humor when it's happening to me.
Mm,
But like it's one of the things that I think is really important when we're learning things in regard to how we treat other people, not to just laugh it off. You don't have to feel guilty because we're all learning and we make mistakes. But like if you use the wrong pronouns with someone, or like that's an example I've seen where then sometimes people are like, ha ha ha, that's so hard to get right. It's like, well, no, because imagine if you accidentally punch someone in the face, you wouldn't laugh. Like it actually, you really could have hurt them very badly. So it's fine to say, to not feel guilty, don't be bogged down, to say, I got that wrong. I
yeah.
want to do better. Help me learn. But don't just laugh. I
Yeah.
think we do that out of nerves. I don't think it's an evil thing. I think we do that out of embarrassment and nerves. But
Sure.
I think that that's something that we all have to work on because, again, laughing when it's happening to you, I laugh all the time. It's ridiculous. My body, it just makes me laugh. Um, but uh,
Mm,
but it's okay when it's happening to you. Really watch when you're doing it to someone else or when
yes.
something you did
Yeah.
might have
Yeah.
mistakenly hurt someone else. So I
Yeah.
just
What a
want to say
great.
that. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, just because I missed out because I tell people my perspective, which is so light sometimes, and then they're like, "Oh, apply that to everyone." And it's like, no, not don't be aware that not everyone's feeling that way in that moment.
Well, a good rule of thumb is someone you love or your a partner is like, how well does it work to say like, you should just smile or you should just like take it, like laugh at it. It's fine. I think especially when the person who's experiencing it, it's good to support someone through something, and humor is a great thing. But so it makes sense for someone to say, I'm going to own that by having humor. It's a very different thing from the immediate like, why don't you just laugh about it? Is like a total assumption and almost oppressive way to try to get somebody through something, right? Because you're
Yeah.
just taking away
Well,
the
and I think there's a selfish aspect when we expect other people's behavior to fit what makes us comfortable.
yeah.
And I honestly like I feel like there's a lot of things that are that way that are just like disability can be a really uncomfortable subject or like so many others. And so therefore I want you to fit this thing that lets me not confront the discomfort.
Yeah.
Just like let me like ignore this thing in life. And it's like, no, like we have to allow for other people to make us uncomfortable because we can learn from that.
Yep, yep. Well,
Yeah.
I am heartened to see more and more disabled actors and
Yeah.
of many backgrounds showing up in Good Omens and like in beautiful parts that are dimensional parts, not just like sort of these like tropey, ridiculous things, but
Yeah.
like really getting to shine as figures of power and figures of all kinds. Um, you know, yeah, what was I just watching? Chaos with Jeff
Yeah.
Goldblum right now. There's some really great
Yeah.
actors who are like doing great work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
No,
so
and as I said, that's the stuff that I think that's one of the beautiful things about art. I think we do model off of that, off of what we see.
yeah,
And I think that people who are watching that, so it will start shifting the world.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And making yeah,
Anyway, I feel like I've been too serious for like, I don't want to disappoint if people want like fun, salacious things.
we're doing no, okay, fine. You want to do this? Let's do this. What's it like killing people on screen? What does Misha taste like apples? Like what let's just get into it. Yeah, let's go.
I have to watch because the Misha thing is like when with the Misha kissing thing. So
Yes.
there was a little girl once that came up to me during convention and asked what was it like kissing Misha, and I answered like I've had to answer that question enough that I jokingly went, "Oh, it's horrible," and her face. Like I just watched her face, like the disappointment. I had to find her like at the event later and be like, "He's beautiful and a wonderful man and a
So you
great
lied. You
kisser."
just lied to her.
And
Like that's so terrible. That's
No, but honestly, like perspective wise, it's such a good group of people, and it
Yeah.
was really caring on that set. And like to me, what stuck out with me, was like the MS was already bothering me.
Yeah.
I was already having trouble. Like I was having trouble doing the turn. There was a turn as we kissed. Now I'm also such a nerd. I told you I'm very anxious. I was thinking about things like I had to grab the angel blade out of
Mhm.
his jacket and like trying to time that right and trying to like make sure I didn't shadow him and like so I was thinking a lot of technical things, but I had to do this really hard turn and he was like, let me help. And at that time he thought it was just an injured back because I hadn't told anyone about the MS, but he still offered to help and he like lifted me up and turned me around, which ends up looking really sexy. But like the reason was actually he was just being a nice friend.
Yeah.
So I like to me that was what stayed with was
Okay.
like, and I think as actors, like when you make someone's life easier, and look out without making a big deal of it, it's like that's an A plus.
Yes, a collaborative experience in some of those very touchy and intimate moments is required. And that's also like SAG is also talking a lot about intimacy coordinators now. And it's a very different world now than it
Oh,
was.
I have a trick, by the way.
Yeah. What's the trick? Any tricks?
Yes.
Let's go.
So I've done my share of intimate scenes with people, and sometimes they can be guys can get a little inappropriate, a little grabby, a little whatever. But I found a trick which said if you tell someone ahead of time what a gentleman they are and
Yeah.
how
They,
really feel comfortable working with them, they tend to live up to it. So my trick was, especially if someone was already a little bit like, I don't know how this is going to go, I'd be like, thank you. I feel so much more comfortable because you're being so considerate and whatever. And then they would be like, yeah, I am.
genius. That's
Thank you.
genius.
So,
It's like I think I've done that to my kids. I'm like, you're so great today. I just love you so much. And like, I am. And then they start
yeah,
being
it
like,
works.
they start paying attention. It's great.
Yeah, I'm all
Um,
for that one.
do you have any acting advice you'd like to give everybody here? Like, is there anything about the entertainment industry or acting that you'd like to sort of share?
I mean, I think some of what we touched on, but from my point of view, and again, this is my point of view, is one way to make things work. And if there's one thing that I know about life is that there are as many ways up the mountain as there are people. And so like
Yes.
find your own.
Yes.
But I personally find it helpful and grounding to remember that it's not about you.
Yeah.
That
Hmm.
if we're like, and in a good way, and not just like, oh, don't have an ego, but I mean, don't watch yourself. Don't try to critique yourself. Don't, and when I say watch yourself, not just like watching after you've done a piece, but like trying to like think about what do I look like? What do I look like? I'm an ugly crier. When
Hmm.
I cry, I do not look good and I should not be thinking about what I look like.
Yeah.
Um, when they're being that character, there is no camera there. You're not thinking about yourself. And again, you're like, it's literally being someone else so that you can connect with the people in the audience or the
Yeah.
people you're doing the scene with or whatever. So I think as much as possible, it's very freeing to take yourself out of the equation,
Yeah.
and be that part of it yourself that is universal. We all have that.
Hmm.
And then it's so much fun. Like that to me is like that's where the real joy is and the art is like is when you're free of the constraints of your identity and you're just like in the state where you can be anything. And to me, I'm like, that would be what I recommend because it's super enjoyable.
Wow. Wow. I've never heard that put that way before. It's actually making me a little weirdly emotional. I never even thought about that. That we're like infinite in our capability to be something in that moment of creativity. That's huge. Thank you for that. That's gonna stick with me for a while.
Oh gosh.
I don't know why it just met me that way. Anyway, also, can we just talk about this? We had
Yes.
we we literally lived in the same place. We had mutual connected friends for decades, like
Yeah.
decades. I
No,
knew
I think we actually were like at the same
at the same
locations at the same
functions
time. Exactly. Like
over and over.
I kept after we met when we were going, I kept going back and like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I think we were at the like same birthday
Yeah.
parties. So we like it was like weird sliding door to door
Weird
and
sliding
stuff.
door. Yeah.
Like we must have been walking
Yeah.
past each other and like we there's I don't probability wise, it seems really improbable that we didn't meet 10 years ago.
And not to say that like my memory is not amazing at the moment. Like
Yeah.
I know I don't remember like parts of, especially like early 2000s
Right.
to mid 2000 or mid, right toward the tens, right in that period to like 10 to 15 is a different era. But like it's just funny that when we first, and I remember because we like, I think we, even when we met, it was a little bit like in person, it was a little bit like there was a little like wondering about why.
Yeah.
I would personally like to know why we didn't hang out, and it's bullshit,
Yeah.
quite
I
honestly.
don't know. I had like one theory at one point, which I was like, maybe because because one of the things I was like, but because yeah, we could have met like and not remember. But like I'm like, but like instantly when I met you, I was like, oh, he's my friend.
Yeah, yeah,
So I was like, I would have had that same reaction because I trust that.
yeah,
So like even if I don't like it wouldn't have been incidental because I would have been like, oh, you're awesome. You're a friend.
yeah,
Um, but then I was like, maybe both of us have changed enough to allow ourselves to become ourselves
yeah.
that we then like
I like that.
recognized each other.
All right, so this is now my therapy time. Okay, great, guys. Not Tales from Hollywood. It's therapy time for Charlie. Um, so we should take some questions because
Oh
we're
no, because Hollywood, I will say, trappings of Hollywood
yes,
is it's so easy to start trying to put on other faces.
yes,
And I don't mean the acting one.
no,
And I think part of it too is like if you have a heart that way, like you're very empathetic and you want to make people happy, which I'll tell you, so like my first funeral that when I was 2 years old, my grandfather died. I went to the funeral. I apparently walked around to everyone saying, don't worry, I'll take you to the circus. Because I'm very uncomfortable with people being sad. And I thought I could fix it. So there's a trapping, which is that if you're in worlds like Hollywood, to start to try to be what you think other people want.
very much, yeah,
And so I really, again, like advice to any of us for anything really, but
yeah,
especially if you're going to navigate this industry,
yeah.
is that you have to not do that. You have to find what your own metrics of happiness and value and everything are, and surround yourself with people who resonate with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's
Well,
it. Okay.
that's great. I mean, again, there's lots of great advice here and lots of great story, but I've talked too much. You need to keep talking. Let's do this. If you have a working camera and mic and you've submitted a question in the Q&A box, would you mind hitting the raised hand feature if you don't mind? It is in the reactions section at the bottom. We'd love to take one or two questions there. And while that's happening, just hit that raise hand feature if you have a working camera or mic. Get to one or two of those. Meanwhile, okay, so I'm just going to go through a couple of like lightning round from the Q&A box here.
Yeah.
Amanda asks, do you have any advice for getting used to being on camera? Amanda has a YouTube channel.
Nice. Well, as I said, my comfortable thing is I do not watch myself.
Yes.
So I'm like really really good at that. My worst acting experience probably ever was a scene I had to do where I was supposed to look at myself in the mirror and
Yes.
suddenly I could not talk. So I had to cheat it and pretend to be looking at myself.
Yeah.
So and the same like even with pictures of me, I like cover the picture when I have to sign autographs, I cover the picture with my hand, sign that way. So my recommendation though is actually it's not just like, oh, I hate my looks or something. It's just if you're gonna like so much of camera work, YouTube channels, all of that is about trying to connect with others.
Yeah.
And if you're watching yourself, it's something in the way of that connection. So that's my big recommendation. What about you, Charlie? You're on screen all the time. You have
All the
any
time.
recommendations?
Don't look at yourself as, I mean, is a great piece of advice for me. I try to treat the people I talk to and the camera as an old friend,
Nice.
which means I can sometimes look a little ridiculous. I can sometimes be, because I'm a bit of a muppet. Actually, Debbie, I'm going to try to pull you in here too, but maybe I can. Actually, maybe we could just do. You could speak. Would that work, Debbie? Hi, Debbie.
Hello, Debbie. I see a high hand. I want to give you a high five.
Oh, I don't understand why it's not working.
Weird.
Oh, no. I can
what
hear
we
you.
do is-
too.
yeah. Oh, there she goes. Debbie was there, and then she wasn't. But we can try again. Debbie's still here. Is Debbie still here? Is Debbie with us?
Debbie.
Debbie, if you'd like to ask your question, I just saw your question in the Q&A box, and I'd love to hear it. I think she's joining. Joining. There's Debbie. Yay. All right. We're almost there. We
Hi,
just have to
Debbie.
unmute, and we've done it.
It's so good to see you. How are you?
Hi, Rachel. I'm well. How are you doing?
Good. Very good. Especially, I love being here. It's so awesome getting to talk to you.
Oh, when I heard about this, I knew I just had to be a part of this. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Debbie,
So, what's your question? I'm ready to answer.
On Supernatural, what was your favorite scene that you were in?
I love that. Okay, so
Because you had so many wonderful
Really
scenes.
I
Yeah,
did. I was
sure.
really lucky. I think I can think of three favorite. One was my very final scene. I love that, like, go save your unicorn. For so many reasons, but on a very deep level, I love getting to be a female character that faced danger and without a split second blink hesitation, confronted it and took that on and saved the guy. I thought that was pretty cool.
Saving Misha? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he needs it. He
Yeah,
really does.
I got to be the strong one. So no, I love that. I think it was a beautiful scene too. I love the scene before with Jared. I really love working with Jared, and we got to do something that whole scene was special. Meg always loved her one-liners, so it was so amazing getting to play someone that smart and funny. So there are like each one-liner was my favorite thing. But I love from the first scene I did where I actually kissed Jensen, and a lot of people forget that.
I did.
So, but that scene,
I kind of put myself in your place when you did that.
nice. So he did say I tasted like peanut butter, so there is that. No, that was his character, not me personally, not real.
Right.
Meg. But yeah, no, that I just always loved playing Meg. So I remember, and at that point too, I was still doing all my stunts and stuff. So I love that feeling because she was so powerful. And then I think the Misha kiss moment was a great one, mostly because I loved the idea. I'm such an inner romantic. I love the idea of those two characters together. I love that they didn't fit. And so getting to be a part of that story was super, super fun.
So he did a good job as the pizza man.
He did. He was a good pizza man. Pizza man taught him well.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Debbie.
Well, Rachel, I hope your health continues to be well. And thank you
Thank
for taking my question.
Thank you so much. It was good. I'm glad I finally got to see you.
Me too.
Thank you, Debbie.
Take care.
Hello.
Hey.
I just realized my legal name's on there. I go by Beth, but
I was gonna say, like, that was so, because I was having this like weird moment.
Deja vu.
Do I have the wrong name in my head? And, yeah. great to see you. Oh no, Beth,
Oh no,
you
hold
went
on.
away.
It just hold on. Where did she go? Hold on. We're gonna get her back here.
We'll
This,
get you back.
this Zoom shenanigans shall not stand. There we go. There we go. And then we're going to be moving on to meet and greets shortly. So just everyone who has a meet and greet, stick around here. But you're
I'm
back.
back. Yes,
Hey,
yes.
what do you want to ask?
Well, firstly, I want to say how lovely this has been. I've really missed these Zooms that were so prevalent during the pandemic. Thank God that's lessened, but I've really missed the Charlie and Rachel sessions. So thank you for having this. And I was just going to say, whenever you two specifically have these types of events, it really does just bring so much joy that sort of carries through the rest of the day for me. And other things I've heard you say just really stick with me, give me food for thought that I carry with me for a long time. I just wondered, on your side of things, what are some of those moments or takeaways that you each carry with you?
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, first of all,
I'm
I'm
sure there's a
grateful.
lot. You don't have to say everyone, but yeah.
So grateful for what you said, but honestly, like one of the things I'm so grateful for all this work that we've been doing. I know it's so funny. Since we like started talking online, but also it's not just it's the purpose, the work that we've gotten to do together too. Like the trying to like save the rainforest and save these people in this area and do these good things and put these messages out there that I think are so amazing in the world, and be a part of that. Like, and there's like a joy and a playfulness and all that to like imagining a better, like a world where everyone belongs and like something about that shared vision that like I think I've always felt like. So to me, there's been like, and it's with, and it's you too, it's everyone who's here. It's that we all share this energy, and so there's like this vibration back and forth and stuff. And so to me, these are a lot of the most enjoyable moments of my life, these last, since we all started working together, and doing these things and playing these games together, and imagining worlds into being and imagining great event like it. Anyway, Charlie, you should talk. Like, but that it's that vibration. I don't know how to describe it, but that's what I walk away and I'm vibrating for like the whole day.
Good, good.
I mean, first of all, you stole my answer. How dare you? But being plugged into, there's not, I mean, I miss our shenanigans so much. Like it was such a feature and landmark of my life. I'm so proud of every single person I met, and I still meet people occasionally that like I see wearing a gift shirt or somehow, some way know me, because to me, Rachel is the avatar of Random Acts, the herald, the avatar of this sort of like effervescent, kind, open, willing shenanigans behavior that like the world needs.
Yeah.
Because there is a little part of Rachel that is a little shenanigans. She's a little mischievous. She's a little
Definitely.
fairy fey creature that wants to like get in there. I miss being plugged into exactly what she's talking about, which is this power source of creativity and love that I have never experienced before in my life. And I don't know, I mean, I may never again, and I'm so grateful for it, because what Rachel does and what we got to do together is so singular in the ways, and what Misha created and that umbrella that Misha created gave me the chance to make an impact alongside beautiful people that have really kind hearts, both who played and organized. So I will never be the same again.
Good.
I'm grateful for that. Really am. So yeah, Rachel, you're stunning. You're amazing, and I really appreciate all your hard work.
I'm also really, really uncomfortable with
Yeah, praise.
compliment. So
Praise is really good. So like, but maybe if I
um,
say it in like a mean way, like you're so nice, like I should just do it in a mean
Good.
way.
Oh, but I've actually gotten trolls who did that. Like I've
Yeah.
gotten trolls who are like, "Ew, it's all nice, nice, nice."
Oh, good. Maybe if I do it like in a like a negative sounding way, you'll listen to it.
I will. I will, because then I embrace it. It's like what's that social, oh God, social justice warrior.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love that insult. I'm like,
Great.
yeah.
Calling me a
No,
badass? Great. Okay, cool. I care about other people. I want people to find justice. That sounds awesome.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
but I couldn't agree more. And let's like just keep doing it all the time, because I think the world is malleable, and I think that when we all play in this way, there's no limit to what we can do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Thank you
no,
very-
thank you, Beth. You really you opened up a really, really cool conversation,
Thanks.
an important one. So
Thank you.
I hope that you leave and like have some cool ideas, and let's do them.
Always, always.
Okay, awesome.
Big time.
Awesome. There's nothing that stops us from that.
Yes.
And we don't need any like rules or game to like, stop us from just like creating chaos. We can do that anytime.
Oh, it's going on in my head right now.
Good. Perfect.
The chaos or the good ideas or both? Yeah.
Both.
Great.
Yes. Thanks,
Just
guys.
the way we like it around here.
Perfect.
Thank you, Beth. Wow. Well, this like suddenly turned into like a This Is Your Life episode, and I'm here for it, but I'm also like, oh my God, I didn't know we were going to be Tales from Hollywood and the Psyche. All right.
Yeah.
But
you did, because you invited me here.
I know when we're
Come
together,
on.
this is just what happens. It
That's
goes
what
like
happens.
deep and emotional, and like, what can we do about these things? And
Yeah.
why is the world
And let's
like it is?
let's get arrested. I mean,
Let's get arrested. Yes, that's the most important thing. That speaks to my Irish nature to like, let's go fucking get arrested. So we do have to move on to meet and greets for time. I want to respect your time. And I just, before we move on to that, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for your career. I would love to see you in all of the things. I want to find a way for us to somehow get a movie going from you where you are. I don't give a shit anymore. You're very talented. And your career you've led with such integrity, and you've learned. You are also a lesson in there are no mistakes, there are only lessons, because you are such a curious human being. So thank you for taking this time. It's been really beautiful.
Thank you. As I said,
Also-
total overwhelm. But
Yeah, no, you're just whatever, and do whatever you're gonna
No.
do. Like, just
yeah,
Mhm.
because I'm like the biggest fan, and we like, whatever. Anyway, thank
Yep.
you. 'Cause I
You're
get
welcome.
totally speechless.
I know.
But
Well,
but yes, let's create all the things, and let's like mess up beautifully and profoundly and change the world with our mistake. I think I posted something recently that's one of my favorite quotes, which is a quote from someone, I have no idea their name, but it's on my Instagram. But I think it's like, by our stumbling, the world is perfected.
yeah. Wow.
And I love that. I might be messing up the quote, but go to my Instagram, you can see it.
Go look at the quote.
But even if I'm messing up, I'm articulating the point.
Yes.
I really do agree with that. It's just like, let's throw ourselves into life and figure it out as we go. And through that, we're gonna find beauty and create things. And
Yeah.
that's how life is.
Let's fuck it up for fun.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody, go out there, have fun, do good. We're gonna be moving
Yes.
on to meet and greets.
And thank you again to everyone who joined.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
still
you.
like blown away that anyone joined. So and I'm so grateful to spend this time with you all, my friends.
Same. And thank you to NCI, our captioners, for live captioning everything so that we are more accessible.